You know what I'm most afraid of? Alex asked, looking down from the roof of a shabby, five-story building in East Brooklyn. That your father will find you? Mike muttered, bandaging his cut arm with an old T-shirt. No, that I would turn out like him. Alex Harrison is the son of a billionaire who owns oil companies, has shares in 5 corporations, and even owns a private island off the coast of Costa Rica. But Alex had been living under a different name for 9 months. He was running away from his father, from the empire, and from the obligation to be another Harrison. His passport, purchased for $300 in the dark district, listed him as Adam Murray. He smelled of dust, gasoline, and betrayal. He worked as a security guard in an old apartment complex where the cameras didn't work. At night, you could hear the building groaning. It was so sick. Do you think you're much different from him? Mike asked, looking at him from under his furrowed brows. I don't think I know who I am at all. That's closer to the truth, bro. Mike was a former boxer. He lost his career because of unproven accusations. After that, his life consisted of cheap fights, alcohol, and odd jobs. Mike never asked why Alex had a scar on his chest or why he always wore an Omega watch, even when he slept. Mike just accepted Alex for who he was. That's rare in a world where everyone is trying to use you. Everyone thought Alex was just another wealthy family loser playing the survival game. But the truth was deeper. He wasn't running away. He was looking for people who were in pain, himself among them. He wanted a world without golden walls and secretaries with fake smiles. There's going to be movement tonight, Mike said, getting to his feet. Cargo, Alex asked. I'm a security guard. And here, guard is just a word. You're either one of them or you're dead. Alex nodded. In the darkness, he felt more like himself than he had in the palaces of his childhood. Here, everyone had a story, but no one had a future. For the first time in his life, he did not feel on top. That very evening, in a 45-story Manhattan penthouse, Jonathan Harrison, Alex's father, sat in a dark room. A tablet in front of him displayed images from surveillance cameras. Silently smoking a Cuban cigar, he looked at a photo of his son taken a few days ago in a dark alley. I'll give you 1 more month, Alex, he said quietly. Then, either you come back or I'll make you. The night in East Brooklyn had a distinct smell, a mixture of wet concrete, old grease from food trucks, and smoke wafting out of windows like prison memories. Alex stood at the back entrance of the apartment complex, holding a flashlight and an old pistol that jammed every third shot. If anyone asks, you're just another one of us, Mike said, pulling up his hood, but it's best if no one asks. What's in that van? Alex finally asked. Something that shouldn't be here, but that's why it's here. The truck stopped without its headlights on, like a ghost. Blake stepped out. He had a face that seemed to be made up of different puzzles. No nose, an artificial jaw, and a glass left eye, but his voice was firm. Commanding. Who is this? Blake said, glancing at Alex. A new guy, but he's not one of those who run. Mike answered. Good, but if something goes wrong, his blood is on you. The van opened, but there were no drugs, weapons, or people inside. Instead, there were computer motherboards, microchips, and hard drives in special heat pack containers. Smuggling, Alex muttered. Information? What kind of information? The kind that people would sell their souls for, or kill for. They finished unloading after 3 o'clock. There was only one yellow light in the basement of the complex. Mike showed Alex the server room, which was padded with foam rubber and filled with equipment that shouldn't have been there. It was somewhere between a hacker base and a digital safe house. Who the hell are you? Alex asked. We're not revolutionaries. We're not bandits. We're just people whom society no longer notices. But we still have our teeth. We will remember how to bite back. Alex looked at the screens. One of them had the logo of Harrison Global Systems, his father's company. Do you hack empires? We are revealing the truth. Meanwhile, in a tower in Midtown Manhattan, Jonathan Harrison sat in front of a holographic panel. Standing next to him was Cheryl, the head of a private intelligence agency, in a suit. We've lost a signal from District 4. The hackers are active again. I know, Jonathan said calmly. And so is my son. He's with them. Do you want us to bring him back? No. Let him choose. It's either the authorities or the street. By next month, he'll be either with me or in the morgue. Alex sat on an old mattress and looked at the ceiling. Guilt, fear, hatred, and curiosity beat inside him. What if everything Blake was doing was right? What if his father really was destroying entire nations because of data and corporations? The phone that Alex kept in his backpack hadn't signaled in a long time, but at 3:45 it turned on only for 5 seconds. It showed a notification. Location tracked. Subject, A. Harrison. Status, active. Someone had found him. This night might be the last quiet one of his life. Alex, get up! Someone shouted, tugging sharply on his shoulder. He woke up in a sweaty t-shirt, still disoriented. Mike stood over him, gripping an assault rifle. From below, screams and barking dogs echoed. Behind the wall, someone was trying to break in with a kick. What the hell is happening? Alex asked. We've been spotted, and it's not just the cops. Bang! An explosion rocked the room. Glass shattered, and smoke spread along the ceiling. It wasn't the police, Alex wheezed. They didn't even warn us. It's shadow protocol, Mike said grimly. Your father's mercenaries. When the blacks come in, the lights go out first. Then the internet dies. Then the people. They leave no witnesses. Alex, Mike, Sarah, and Jay bolted out the back. Sarah clutched an old laptop, typing as she ran. Jay limped badly. He'd been hit by shrapnel in the hip during the first blast. They want the server, Sarah panted. But they didn't expect us to have already leaked everything. Dumped it where? The live feed. Some of it. Enough to piss Harrison off. The street looked like a battlefield. Burning trash cans. Sirens wailing in the distance. But no one rushed to help. They didn't come here with kindness. They came with orders. Bang! This time the building behind them partially collapsed. The server room was destroyed. Jay collapsed. Get up, damn it. Mike shouted, but Jay wasn't breathing. A piece of shrapnel had pierced his chest. Sarah stood trembling, staring at Jay's lifeless body. Alex grabbed her arm. Keep moving, he urged. We can't stop now. They ran toward an old subway tunnel, and used for decades. It once led to a freight station. Now it was their only escape. I can't take this anymore, Sarah gasped. This isn't my fight. It is yours, Alex said firmly. You know more than anyone. If you fall, the whole truth falls with you. She looked at him, fear, exhaustion, and rage in her eyes. And you're the son of that bastard? She whispered. I was. And now I'm the one who wants his name wiped from the face of the earth. At that moment, Jonathan Harrison stood before a wall of monitors on the 5th floor of a skyscraper, the nerve center of Shadow Protocol in New York City. His voice was calm, but his eyes were those of a predator who had just caught the scent of blood. Who survived? Subjects M1, Mike, and S2, Sarah. Likely escaped. AG probably 2. Probably doesn't interest me. Do you want to run option H2? Run it. He turned toward the window. Below, the city sparkled with night lights, cars, people, life going on. You want to play Revolution, son? Fine. But don't forget who built the field you're playing on. In the underground tunnel, Alex sat on a cold metal pipe, his hands trembling. Jay was dead. Sarah was on the brink of collapse. Mike was silent, as he always was after a loss. Who are we now? Alex whispered. We're a threat. We're a threat, Mike agreed. It's time to act while we still have a pulse. Somewhere in the shadows, a drone activated silently, its thermal imager catching their silhouettes. It transmitted a signal. 3 targets found. One is AG confirm elimination. Far away, a voice pressed a button. Clear. The tunnel beneath his feet echoed with heavy thuds. Alex could feel his heart pounding. From the exertion of running and from the weight of what lay ahead, there was no turning back, no side steps, only forward. Freedom or death. We must split up, Mike said coldly. They won't stop until they've caught every last one of us. And if someone doesn't come back? Sarah asked quietly, her former determination drained. Her eyes were wide with fear. Then we make sure their death won't be in vain, Alex said, clenching his fists. We need a plan to strike at the heart of it, where Jonathan Harrison least expects. They reached an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts, their temporary stronghold, where they could catch their breath, gather intel, and prepare their next move. Alex pulled out Jay's laptop, the same one Sarah had used to transmit classified data live. Screens flicker with files, videos, and audio recordings, damning evidence of corruption, sabotage, and the ruthless slaughter of competitors and innocents. Did you see this? Mike asked, running his finger across the screen. This is a fatal map. If we leak this publicly, Harrison will crumble. But to do that, we need to infiltrate Harrison Global Systems and hack their main server, Sarah said, voice cold and steady. That's the most dangerous part, Alex hesitated. We can't do it alone. So we need allies, Mike concluded. Alex dialed the number of an old acquaintance, Edward, who had experience in covert operations. Together, they began to formulate a plan to infiltrate Harrison Global Systems headquarters at night, disguised as a cleaning crew. Alex knew it would be perilous, but there was no alternative. Meanwhile, Jonathan Harrison watched their every move through security cameras, every shadow, every breath. Do you think you can beat me, Alex? He sneered, holding up a faded photo of his son as a boy. You're my son, but not my heir. Your mistake I intend to correct. On the night of the break-in, nerves were taut. Alex, Sarah, and Edward changed into overalls. Their hearts beat in sync with the hum of the ventilation system. At first, everything went smoothly, bypassing cameras, disabling sensors, silent footsteps through empty halls. But when they reached the server room, the alarm blared. It's a trap, Edward shouted, hurriedly starting the hack. Get back! Alex yelled, fending off the guard's sudden attack. The fight was brutal. It was the first time Alex unleashed the full force of his desperation, fighting not just for himself, but for loved ones and the truth. Sarah was wounded but continued assisting Edward, who steadily worked towards his goal. The hack completed. Files uploaded to the network, granting thousands worldwide access to the secret documents. But the price was high. When Alex leapt onto the roof, police cars and armed men in black awaited. It was over, or so it seemed. Yet deep inside, a flicker of hope remained. Are you ready, son? A familiar voice whispered behind him. Alex turned to face Jonathan Harrison, ruthless and cold, but bitterness and disappointment flickered in his eyes. I'm ready to destroy your empire and build a new one, Alex replied. Their eyes locked, and the real battle began, not just for power, but for souls. New York. In the middle of the night, the city sparkled with thousands of lights. Everything seemed to be going on as normal, but in the heart of the glass towers, a storm was brewing. On the roof of the main Harrison Global Systems building, in the midst of a howling gale, Alex stood face to face with his father, Jonathan Harrison. You got what you wanted, Jonathan said, looking at his son with a heavy mixture of contempt and sadness. But at what cost? You destroyed a legacy that should have been yours. It wasn't a legacy, Alex replied quietly. It was a prison of gold and blood. 12 hours later, Sarah was in the underground shelter with Edward. Everything began to spiral out of control after the data was transmitted to the world. The internet exploded with headlines. Harrison Empire revealed shocking details of financial tyranny. Leaked documents confirm world leaders are on the hook for a billionaire. Shadow Protocol is a private army operating outside the law. Crowds poured into the streets. For the first time in decades, the smell of revolution filled the air. Alex has to finish what he started, Sarah said, watching the protests outside Harrison headquarters on a live feed. Alex knew that simply releasing the information wasn't enough. His father wasn't just a businessman. He was the axis around which governments, militaries, and billions of lives spun. If the core wasn't destroyed, the system itself, it would all return to the way it was. That's why Alex went back, to the very citadel, alone, back on the roof. Do you think the people will win? Jonathan grinned. I built this system before you could even speak. It won't collapse just because someone uploaded a few files. Alex stayed silent. An earpiece buzzed in his ear. Sarah and Edward were tracking signal interceptors, drones, and guards. He had only one chance. You can't see it, Father, he finally answered. Things have changed. Fear doesn't work anymore. You feel it too. Jonathan stepped forward. Under his jacket, body armor gleamed. His eyes burned with the fury of a man who always won. You want to defeat me? With your hands? With your naive faith in people? No, Alex said. I've already won. You just haven't realized it yet. He took out a small device and pressed a button. From a rooftop of a nearby building, a quadcopter rose, broadcasting a hologram for the entire city to see. Footage of Jonathan ordering the elimination of dozens of witnesses, including his own son. All over New York, screens lit up with the truth. 30 minutes later, protesters surrounded Harrison headquarters. World media scrambled for comment. U.S. senators called an emergency session. Even employees of the corporation joined crowds. But on the rooftop, silence reigned. You've doomed yourself, Jonathan whispered, pulling out a gun. Alex didn't move. You didn't create me, Father. You lost me the moment you chose power over life. A shot rang out, but the bullet struck the armored glass behind Alex. Edward had disabled the gun remotely with a pulse via the transmitter. It's impossible, Jonathan stammered. For the first time, his expression showed not contempt or rage, but fear. Alex stepped closer. It's over. You've lost. Not to me. To them. He nodded toward the street below, where tens of thousands chanted his name. A week later, Jonathan Harrison's empire crumbled. He was arrested under an international warrant. Even his former allies turned their backs, scrambling to wash their hands of the mess. Alex didn't celebrate. There was no triumph in his heart, only emptiness. Loss. He saw Jay's body in the tunnel. Sarah, covered in blood. Mike's cold eyes as he left the same night, leaving only a note. I'm a warrior, not a hero. I was here to help you stand. The next step is yours. A month later, Alex stood on a podium before a massive crowd. The people were silent. He raised a microphone. I'm not a savior. I'm not a hero. I'm just someone who refused to kneel. You are the force, not me. Each and every one of you. The system isn't made of glass and gold. It's fear. And when you stop being afraid, it collapses. My father wanted me to be his shadow. I became his end. The crowd erupted in applause. Alex stepped down. Sarah met him at the bottom, smiling despite the scar on her cheek. You changed the world, Alex. No, he said. We just started it. He looked up at the sky. A new era had begun.